A jam-packed of NHL games here on a Tuesday, and we're going to give you guys best bets on 3 games. We got some props, we have some promotional stuff, and it is $5 Tuesday here at WagerTalk.com. A best bet, a favorite play across multiple sports available over at WagerTalk.com. But myself, Andrew McGinnis, Carmine Bianco, and Lawrence Presman here to break down a bunch of games for you. Carm, good morning to you, my friend. How are you? And what are your thoughts on today's games we have going today?
I'm better than anyone who had the sorry, I had to mention the Cleveland Browns yesterday. What a brutal way for you guys to lose if you had the +6 or 6.5. Jameis Winston, that's all you need to know. But we are going to cover the Detroit Red Wings and some issues with this team. I'll mention them shortly against the Boston Bruins, St. Louis, and Winnipeg. Jets return home off a 6-game road trip. Andrew, you're going to give us out some prop winners, Edmonton Oilers and Vegas to close out the night from T-Mobile Arena. Some show best bets that we hope get there for you guys to make a little dough. And joining us, the one and only Prez. And Prez, welcome aboard. Obviously, the big news yesterday was you getting rid of Teddy. I'm not sure why you did it. The guy is loved by all. All kidding aside, Prez, how you doing?
Carm, I'm doing good, man. Firstly, I did not get rid of Teddy. He decided to step down on his own. He got rid of me. We're going to be doing our show at noon today, Eastern time, so make sure to watch that, everybody. Wager Talk today. There were an insane amount of comments, which was great on the video on the show yesterday. And yeah, look, there are a lot of people that are upset Teddy's leaving and think that me and him have incredible chemistry and the odd couple is not the odd couple anymore. I will assure you guys that the show is about to only get better. We're in the process of changing a lot of stuff. None of it's going to happen this week. This week is just sort of like a bridge week. But not to worry, everybody. And Teddy will be on at least once a week anyway. Other than that, things are great, man. I won last night for my clients 2-1, but Carm, I got to tell you, man, I'm coming off a horrible NFL Sunday, horrible. And I don't think I could have done worse in hoops since last Thursday. Been really one of the ugliest runs I've ever had, but it's behind me now. We won last night, and I feel like we're about to get on a big run. And this stuff happens. I'm feeling good. My mood has changed, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Listen, and we're going to get into the games. I was on last call on Sunday, and John Murray was on before me from the Westgate, and he talked about a lot of the games that the book needed because of all the public money on teams, and a lot of the ones they needed hit for him. So most of them, I thought, hit for him. So it was tough all around. But speaking of tough. The Boston Bruins and the Detroit Red Wings, -190, +160 is a take back on Detroit. Looks like it's Swayman for the Bruins, Prez, but it is Husso who's been called up and confirmed for tonight. And the backup also called up, Sebastian Cossa, because we have injuries, obviously, to Alex Lyon, who did not travel with the team, and with Cam Talbot, who was on the ice, but Lon says that it doesn't look like he's ready to return as of yet. So it's Husso and an emergency backup tonight in this one. And then the problems get a little worse. Some players for this Detroit team missing as well too, namely Patrick Kane, who's on the IR for this team. This is a tough one for them. And I'm going to have a play at the end of the show on this game, but I'm also going to give you guys a play now. I just think Detroit with the goaltending issues are up against it. I don't want to lay $1.90 with the Bruins. I don't lay $1.90 with anyone in the NHL. I'm going to take the Bruins in regulation, and then after we discuss the next game, I'll give you another way you can play the Bruins as well too. But Bruins in regulation -120 for me. Prez, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, brother, listen, let's start with the fact that I agree with you that the Bruins in regulation are the play here. This Detroit team, it's funny. They kind of remind me a little bit like Ottawa Senators, maybe even some Buffalo Sabres thrown in there. Is this the year? Is this it? No, it's not. Maybe this is the year. Is this? No, it's not. How about that? No. They just can't get out of their own way. And they lack scoring, which is interesting because I like the over in this game. This Detroit team finally put up 4 goals. Took them a long time. They've put up 4 in the 3 of their last 4 games. I look at Boston. I don't think they're a very good hockey team. I actually felt like Boston and Tampa Bay were there for the taking this year. That maybe this was the year that Detroit, Buffalo, and Ottawa stepped up. No, not the year. And Boston's been playing really well since the change of their coach. And they finally have started to score. They put up 6 last game. They put up 6 twice in 2 of their last 3 games. I like the over in this game, and I like Boston in regulation as well, Carm. I wouldn't be surprised if this game kind of got away from Detroit and got away from them fast.
Yeah, listen, I feel the same way heading into the season. Not so much on Tampa Bay because I didn't know. I think there was sort of a mixed bag of nuts for that team. Anytime you have a team with a lineup that does have superstars in it that can score goals, and Vasilevsky in goal, you just don't know what you're going to get them. You expect an off year, but I expected an off year from the Bruins. I took their team total, Andrew, under, I think it was 99.5 points, which is a far cry from their last couple of seasons, but that tells you what the bookmakers thought of them coming off 2 years ago, the President's Trophy, and then last year where they still had 100 plus points. I think it was 108 or 109, and then their total gets set at 99.5 points for this year. I took the under in that one. Do you have enough confidence in this Detroit team, Andrew, to take them at plus money, or is it the Bruins for you? And we discussed it yesterday. Andrew, how long before Lalonde gets the axe in Detroit?
I think it has to be very soon. But like I said, Carm, to you and Johnny, I think a big part of it is the management. The Detroit management. Look, Stevie Y might have been an unbelievable player, but as we find out a lot, really good players don't always end up being good GMs. Really good GMs or good coaches doesn't mean you're going to be good in the front office space. And I just don't like what they've done. I don't like it. I think that they rushed their rebuild. That's been the biggest problem is they went out and picked up too many older players. They went out and picked up free agents. You have to be patient with a rebuild because, I always make this reference. Do you want to go to the dance and have a good time, or do you want to go to the dance and then just go home immediately? Because right now, if some of these teams like Detroit or some of the, Buffalo, if they even make the playoffs right now, how are they going to do once they get there? Is it enough to even make it? Maybe for some teams it is, but they're not good enough to really be effective once they do get to the playoffs. Guys, right now, the Boston Bruins are 4-2 since they fired Jim Montgomery. All right. But if you take a look at the path that they had, and it always seems to happen this way, teams will fire their coach right around the time that they're going to face a ton of weaker opponents. Like if you look at how this team played since they fired, in their first 3 games since firing Jim Montgomery, they scored a combined 3 goals, and yet they were 2-1. They beat Utah 1-0. They beat Detroit 2-1. They lost to Vancouver 2-0. And then over the next couple of games after that, there's some inflated numbers. They put up 6 goals on a not-so-great New York Islanders team. They put up 6 goals on a very not-so-great Montreal Canadiens team. 3 of those goals happening in 1 minute and 45 seconds. What am I saying here, guys? This Bruins team is winning games right now, and they aren't even playing good hockey. And that can be a dangerous thing. As much as I would love to come on here and say the Bruins aren't playing good hockey, we have to go against them. We need to kind of take the underdog here. Sometimes, Carm, a team needs to win games when they're not playing great hockey. They need to win games because of their goaltender. They need to be able to win games in low-scoring fashion. If you take away the Islanders game, take away the Montreal Canadiens game, this team is still playing in low-scoring fashion, but it doesn't matter because it's all about confidence. whether or not these guys are pro players, they're making millions of dollars, they've been in the league for years or not, every single person in this world deals with up and down confidence issues, besides maybe a guy like Prez. I mean, look at the guy, right? How can he have no confidence? But this Boston Bruins team has confidence right now. They're playing good hockey. And I'm going to go right back to the well with my old team totals, guys. We're going to go up and over 3.5 goals at an even money plus 100 price. It's been advantageous schedule here for this team. They're taking advantage of it. They're looking good because of it, but I think they're going to continue to play some good hockey at the Garden. Give me the Bruins over 3.5 goals on their team total, Carm.
Andrew gives a breakdown on Detroit and Boston and still finds a way of
And
firing some
CVY.
shots at Prez. It's like shots fired at Nakatomi Towers in Die Hard.
Well, wait a minute.
Prez,
That's a
He didn't
compliment.
take
That's
a
a
shot at
compliment.
me.
That's
He
a compliment.
complimented me. He said how confident
Yeah.
I am,
Oh,
which I
okay.
appreciate.
All right.
And
all right.
then
I
our
will
good
say this.
our good pal Yannick wrote hashtag
Okay.
Prez sucks, which is awesome. Let's get that trending. Let's get that trending, guys. Sorry, Carl.
One interesting stat, Andrew, before I go back to you for your thoughts on this St. Louis Winnipeg game is the one problem with the Bruins this season, especially at home, is they haven't done what they've done. Bruins teams of last year, the year before, punished you for the first couple of periods and then put you away in the third period. And they haven't been able to do that all season long. The Bruins have played 15 home games, Prez. Do you know that they have only scored a goal in the third period in their first game, which was against the Montreal Canadiens, and their last game at home, which was the Montreal Canadiens. The 13 games in between, they have not scored in the third period of
Right.
games, and this has a lot to do with their struggles this season at home. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. So to me, and we have Ralph come on the show every Thursday on WagerTalk today. Fuck, he is so good. I just swore. He's so good. He brings a chart. He's got all these incredible stats and data. And the question ultimately, whenever somebody says this stuff to me, is why? Is there a reason? And I'm going to tell you right now, Carm, I think it's just a thing. I don't think that the Bruins play any worse in the third period. I just think it's a moment in time. So yeah, that's my thoughts. I would probably start betting them to score in the third period because everything comes back to the means. Even Yannick,
right,
who's going to be loving on me next Tuesday.
One more quick
Speaking
point I'll
of
make
loving,
on that,
Andrew.
guys. Carm, do you mind?
Yeah.
Just one thing I was going to add is that for all of us on our
fire.
betting streaks, right? Like you think about a big betting run you've had, right? A lot of the times, you have the right side, you have the right call, no doubt about it. But you look at a certain, let's say in the summer, you're on an MLB run, right? You're bound to have a game that you won where you got a late game home run or you got an error by the other team. Things are going well for you, right? You can always tell sometimes when the betting gods are going against you or things are really benefiting you when you're on a certain streak, right? The puck bouncing the certain way for you. And so the reason why I brought it up with the Boston Bruins, because Carm, as you just mentioned, you just talked about it, the New York Islanders and the Montreal Canadiens, that matchup for the Bruins. Like I said, this team is 4-2 since firing their coach, and they're playing bad hockey. Is that a sign of good things to come? Because sometimes, if you're winning games and you're not playing very well, it's kind of a good sign. Like it happens to all of us. Like the amount of times that we've had, the three of us in our group chat on iMessage, we're bitching to each other about losses we have where we all think we had the right handicap. And then sometimes I'm no doubt about it. I've had an over and I got lucky with 2 empty net goals, and that probably wasn't the right read, right? So sometimes things are just turning around for certain teams.
Yeah, no, I get it. They've created the one thing about the Bruins is they're starting to create more XG. So there's an upward trend there, but they're also allowing some XG. I think if the Islanders and the Canadiens had capitalized on their chances, those games would have been a lot closer than those 6-3 type of score lines. But moving along, Andrew, Winnipeg minus 220 at home to the St. Louis Blues, plus 180. Obviously, Jim Montgomery now there with the Blues. They won their first couple of games with them, and then they lose in OT on Saturday. Looks like Binnington and Hellebuck. I'm going to say this. I get it. It looks like there's some regression coming in with this Winnipeg team. But they're coming off a 6-game road trip in which they traveled those 6 games in 10 days, all with travel. You had to expect that it was going to get to them at some point. I don't think this team is regressing. I think they got hit with a losing streak, which happens to some good teams. Much like what Prez said about sort of regression to the mean. I wasn't high on the Winnipeg Jets coming in, but they're having a good season nonetheless, and they're having a good season at home, 9-1. They're only lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs thus far. It's another regulation bet for me, Andrew. The Jets minus 125 in regulation, and I did mention this. You could look at taking the Bruins. If you like the Bruins and don't want to lay that 190, you don't want to lay 220, you could take these two teams on a money line parlay and get plus 122 on your money. So you can turn 2 big favorites into a plus money one, but you have to go 2-0, obviously, in order to cash it. What are your thoughts on this game, Andrew?
My thoughts, Carmen, this is just a really good spot for Winnipeg here. I just think that when you've got a team like this and a very motivated spot against the St. Louis team that, again, and I'm happy you put these games back-to-back, Carm, with Boston and then St. Louis, because, of course, Jim Montgomery's former team and new team, they looked great in the first few games under Montgomery. The coach's bump is a real thing. It's hard to explain, but players just play differently. The effort level is there. They feel rejuvenized for a game or two. And we saw that 5-2 win over the New York Rangers, 3-0 win over the New Jersey Devils. And then they kind of regress a little bit with that 3-2 loss against Philadelphia. This St. Louis team, the issue with them is they give up way too many odd man rushes. They rely heavily on their goaltending. And I know Montgomery wants to bring more scoring and more offense to this team, but it's going to be very tough to do it against a Winnipeg team. We're talking about periods a lot today here, Carm, whether it's first period, second period, or third period. This Winnipeg team has been a very, very strong first period team, especially at home. Now, they're off a couple losses. And like you said, the road trip there, Carm, one of the longest road trips in the NHL. It was for them, actually, just recently. But it was an unsuccessful one, especially near the end. Losing to LA, like you said, Vegas, Dallas. So everyone talks about fading a team fresh off a road trip. You know, you don't really want to be on them. To me, this is a very motivated spot, and this is a Winnipeg team against a St. Louis team that's going to be a little bit unmatched here. It's going to lack some depth. I think Winnipeg is a lot stronger on defense. I think we're going to see a great goaltending effort. This is one of those ones where I'm pulling out all stops in the first period. Minus a half goal, plus 140. I don't like puck line bets. I like first period bets when I want to try and get a much better number. And to me, I just think this is a Winnipeg team after 3 very poor efforts. If they give us a good game tonight, it's going to start in the first 20 minutes. I think they win the first period here. I'll go Winnipeg on the 3-way line, plus 140 against St. Louis. Jim Montgomery is going to do good things with the St. Louis Blues, but it doesn't mean they're going to win every single game. And we saw that last game against Philadelphia. Prez, Winnipeg off 3 straight losses here. They're still a great team, man. But how do you feel about this game for them against the Blues?
Okay, brother. So we're all on the same page here. So right off the bat, I want to say normally I never look to bet teams in game 1 after a long road trip. Carr mentioned that they played 6 road games in their last 10 days. This team actually has only played 1 home game in a month. 1 home game against the Florida Panthers, which they won 6-3 in their last 10 games. They have to be excited to be home, ready to go. And I like them here in regulation. This is both a bet on the Jets and a bet against St. Louis. Guys, like everybody who thinks the Jets are regressing, they are. But take it with a grain of salt. Not only did they have 6 road games in 10 days, they played Dallas, one of, if not the best team in hockey. They played Vegas, a top 10 team in hockey. They played the Kings, an up-and-coming team that's playing good hockey. They played Minnesota, right now top 3 or 4 team in hockey. They played Nashville and Pittsburgh. Okay, both of those teams are shit. But the bottom line is their last 4 games were getting some stellar competition. They did win one of those, Minnesota 4-1. So here we have the Jets coming into this game, losing 3 in a row, and they're playing a St. Louis team that has taken points in their last 3 games. They just lost to Philadelphia 3-2 in overtime, and they beat New Jersey and the Rangers. This is a real good letdown spot for St. Louis and a sort of put it back together spot for Winnipeg. I like them in regulation. They are a free play over at WagerTalk, where I explain as well. And literally the only reason they didn't make my client release is because it's the first game back from a long road trip, which is normally an angle you want to be betting against.
Yeah, and I get that as well too. It is that first game back is something that I normally will look to bet against the team. Sometimes I'll deviate from them, and I'll bet against a team in their second game back, kind of like I did with Utah on Saturday in Vegas, and they won that game 6-0. So that one worked out. Let's see if Andrew's prop plays will work out today. So Andrew, over to you. Give us some prop play winners on what is a huge card today in the NHL. And guys, I would be remiss if I didn't mention it at least once. It is Customer Appreciation Day over at WagerTalk. Every tapper should have packages up, one package each, which is $5. These are packages that normally go for $29, or if it's a 5% play, and I have one up tonight in the NHL, a 5% play, you get it for $5 instead of $35. And there's some great promos in there as well too, including the rest of December for $199 on an all access package. So take advantage of those deals. And with that said, Andrew, now that business is done, give us some prop play winners.
Well, first and foremost, Carm, good luck on the 5% play tonight, man. That's awesome. 5% play from Carmine, guys, for just $5. You got to love that. For me, I decided to kind of do a little pivot here, called an audible. My $5 customer appreciation play, we're going with the NFL here. 8-1 NFL totals run. You guys can get my favorite NFL totals bet of the weekend for just $5 over at wagertalk.com. But guys, I'd be lying if I didn't say we were in bounce back mode today with the props. You know, we started off on fire this year and kind of leveled out. Last night was unacceptable. We got to bounce back here. We have 2 plays, and these are 2 bets on 2 players that are playing on teams that are heavily in bounce back mode. Let's start things off with the first one. Sebastian Aho from the Carolina Hurricanes. They just lost back-to-back games against the Florida Panthers. Even more so, they just lost 6-0 against the Florida Panthers. Sebastian Aho over on his power play points. All right, he's hit this in 4 of his last 5 games overall and 4 of his last 5 home games. The number here, guys, plus 165. I know you might say, well, why not take the regular point prop? Well, that number is going to be close to minus 200. You're going to get plus 165 on this guy to record a power play point. Somebody out there on the power play 1 unit over the boards every single time this team gets a power play. He's on the ice. Plus 165, Sebastian Aho. Let's go to another team that's in bounce back mode after their last performance, and that is the Vegas Golden Knights. Carmine called it on Friday with his 6 and 60 segment. Utah gets the job done over Vegas 6-0. They absolutely smoked the Golden Knights. Well, they'll be focused tonight in their matchup, and I think Ivan Barbashev has a big part of it. Minus 110 is the number on him to get a point. Playing on the second line tonight, 5 of his last 6 games, he has a point for them, playing especially well at home for the Vegas Golden Knights. Guys, let's get back on track. Just 2 player props for today, Sebastian Aho and Barbashev, to get the job done for us here in the NHL prop market. Back to you, Carm.
I love those plus money ones, Andrew. And I see some people talking in the chat, like books like Bet365 don't offer as many shot props. A lot of them, you go to some DK, and they used to have a ton of shot props. They sort of limit it to probably about 10 players a game now, which uh, kind of blows, because when you have a good one and you can't find it, a good angle and you can't find it, that always a bit of a disappointment. Prez, it's
My
never a
brother.
disappointment when we're talking the Vegas Golden Knights or Vegas in general. I'm going the 19th of December, 19th to the 23rd. I was talking to Marco last night, and possibly we'll go to the game on the 19th when the Vancouver Canucks are in town to face Vegas. But tonight it's a different team from Canada, the Edmonton Oilers, and their fans travel well. They love to come to Vegas for these games. The Edmonton Oilers fans, Zach Hyman back on the ice after missing 4 games. I think he's a game time decision, or we'll see what happens at the morning skate and whether he's back into the lineup here. But what are your thoughts on this game? How you breaking this one down?
Well, firstly, when Andrew was talking about barber shave, I was like, I need a barber shave so bad. I am so itchy. I did order some shaving cream from Amazon, but it has not come in yet. I'm so cheap. Why can't I just go to a store and buy shaving cream? Anyway, I don't know. I got
What's it
problems
called?
today,
What did you buy, Prez? Is it like special, like unique
I don't
cream,
know.
or is just
No, like I
regular
bought like
cream?
a 3-pack of that Edge, the Edge shaving cream. I like almost
Okay.
never shave. I normally trim. Anyway, Carm,
Okay.
this is a real tough game for me, man. Like, I'm gonna pass on this game. I'll tell you flat out. If I had to bet this game, I would take over the total. The one interesting thing about Vegas is they're either scoring a lot of goals or letting in a lot of goals. They lost to Utah 6-0, so that obviously didn't go over the total. But if one team puts up 6 goals tonight, this game is going over the total. Before that, they played Winnipeg. They put up 4. They allowed 3. They had a 2-1 game against Colorado. Before that, 5-4, 6-2. This Vegas team is 16-8 to the over. 16-8 to the over. And even though Edmonton is playing to the under 10-13, this is a team that's finally scoring consistently of late. They just put up 4-4, 6-3, and 5 in their last 5 games. So, I feel pretty good about taking any Vegas game over the total, given that they're 16-8-1 to the over. And given that Edmonton is starting to score, I like the over here. I know it's 6.5. I never release over 6.5s. But I do think we're going to get 7 games tonight. And keep in mind, guys, this Vegas team, they dominate this Oilers team on a regular basis as well. So I'm not against them on the money line here, especially after such a horrible loss to Utah. I would lean on the over and I would lean on Vegas, but I am not touching this game with my hard-earned money.
Okay, so maybe it's a good thing that you're not taking this game, because we'd be on the opposites of this one. I'm going to ride with the Oilers, and I get it. I'm going with the line move on this one. This one opened up at -110, -115 for the Oilers. It's at -130 right now. But I watched their game. I watched their game in Utah, and they came back from a 2-0 deficit in that one, and they after falling behind 2-0, they actually looked much like the team when Knobloch took over last season, that played well defensively and then got the scoring when they needed it, and then they followed it up with probably one of their best games of the year. It may not have looked like it, but in Colorado, where they beat the Avalanche 4-1, and Colorado's playing some very good hockey as well too right now. They go in there, and I thought they dominated that game as well too. And some of the sort of post-game core numbers showed to it. The game against Utah for Vegas, it was Samsonov in goal. It wasn't Adin Hill. Adin Hill's been good. His last start was a 4-3 start in that win over Winnipeg. But this is an Oilers team that does travel well. End of the 3-game road trip. I think they end it with a win. They go a perfect 3-0 on the road, go in Vegas. It's always tough to go into Vegas and come away with a couple points, but the Oilers like to play there as well too. And they'll have some of their fan base there. And if Hyman makes it into lineup, it's an added plus as well too. So I'm gonna take the Oilers minus 130 in this one, Andrew, and I'll send it to you for your thoughts on this game. Sure.
Can I jump in? Yeah. So, Carm, the longer I listened to you there, the more I liked Vegas. I just want to let that out there. So, I'm starting to like Vegas a lot more. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you why, because I think this is an interesting conversation. Edmonton, you're right. They played a monster of a game against Colorado. It's tough to play two massive games like that in a row, especially at this time of the year. They had to be coming into that Colorado game, on a high, excited. They want to beat Nate McKinnon. It's an important team to beat. They played maybe the best game they played all year. They outshot him. They outscored him. Now they got to do it twice in a row against Vegas. And not only do they have to do it twice in a row, but Vegas got humiliated against Utah. So here we have a good Vegas team at home after a humiliating loss, playing a good Oiler team on the road after their best game of the season. It reeks of Vegas, Carm. Are you betting this game, or is that just a thought?
Oh, I'm betting it. The Vegas Golden Knights, they lost at home to the Washington Capitals 5-2 and followed that up with that's
horrible.
An embarrassing loss, and followed it up with a 3-0 loss against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So it's not to say that they're immune from losing 2 games in a row. I don't believe that for a minute. So
I agree.
The Oilers have a lot of tools on that team, a lot of offensive tools on that team. And if they start playing defense like they did against, in the second and third periods against Utah, and Utah's not a huge scoring team, but Colorado Avalanche are, and they kept them to a goal at home in Colorado. If they can do the same or similar to the Vegas Golden Knights, I think they get the win here. Andrew, you're the tiebreaker.
Yeah. We'd be lying if we didn't say, hey, this is an example of, a team playing well versus a team that's going to be desperate. That's what it is. Do you want to back the team currently playing well, or do you want to back the desperate team? That's the question, right? For me, I've just been riding these streaks with over 1.5s in the first period with teams off a shutout. And Carm, you know how many times I've bet these this season. It's been very successful. The trend continues to work very well, whether it's been high-scoring games off a shutout or whether it's been the first period off a shutout has gone very well. But here's the deal. This game is a 6.5. This game features 2 talented teams. So I'm taking this to a different level. Instead of over 1.5 in the first period, minus 160, we're going to really flip things around and take both teams to score in the first period plus 140. And I look at the data here. You look at the information. The way that these teams are playing off a shutout, it's like they just have so much energy the next game. It's like they have so much intensity, so much urgency to get out there and get on the board immediately with this Vegas team playing at home. I believe they will get on the board. And then for the Oilers, I think that they could probably start strong and it might fizzle out. This is a team that has won some key games recently, beating some good teams, as you mentioned. So do I want to play the side here? Hey, you know what? I probably would look towards playing the Vegas Golden Knights, but I want to stay away from that and just bet on some goals, baby. Give me goals in this game. Over 1.5 first period, forget about it. We'll take both teams to score at plus 140 at a really good plus price. I think it's a good one. And with the total being 6.5, with the situation for both teams, I feel it's a really good spot here, Carm. So that's my bet. Hopefully the last game of the night starts off with a bang, and we see some action in this first period. Guys, want to just take the time to thank all of you for being here, whether it's live or watching afterwards. We always appreciate it. We always appreciate you guys commenting. Make sure you guys hit the like button All right, smash that like button and subscribe to our channel right here on WagerTalk TV. We appreciate it. And of course, you can find Carmine, you can find Prez and myself over at WagerTalk.com. And as Carmine mentioned, $5 for all of our customer appreciation plays, whether it be in NHL, college action, NBA, or the NFL. Carm, 5% play tonight, man. I'm fired up on your behalf as it is a really, really good NHL slate. But what's a free play you have for us here?
Yeah, so that's up for tonight. 5 straight winners on Tuesdays as part of customer appreciation. So we're going to go for 6 straight winners. Hopefully, let's get that dough tonight. A couple plays up in afternoon soccer, 2-0 sweep yesterday, and up over 20 units with that as well too since the beginning of November. It's been a good run, and I'm going to keep that run going right through to the end of 2024. So that $199 all access deal with college football, with NFL, with soccer, and of course with NHL is a great deal because you're getting daily plays in all of those sports. Andrew, my best bet on this card is going to be that first game we talked about. I talked about taking the Bruins in regulation. I'm also taking the over in this game. It's at 5.5. The goaltending issues in Detroit right now, obviously, Ville Husso, he is not the best goalie in their organization right now. He may have been back in the day when he was playing with St. Louis, but I'm a little worried about Detroit tonight. They're going to have to do what they've done the last few games, which is, and those were 5-4 losses, which is try and outscore teams to make up for the deficiencies on the defense and between the pipes. The Bruins are creating more XG, but they're also allowing more XG. Over 5.5, I can see this game going over the total, and that's what I'm going to go with today. So Bruins, Red Wings over 5.5 as your show best bet. Guys, hit that like button, and of course, subscribe if you haven't already done so. Join the ever-growing community here at Wager Talk. A ton of free play videos, shows with actionable info. We always appreciate you guys tuning in as well, too, and commenting not only live, but after the videos are posted afterwards. Prez, what do you have
My
up at Wager
man.
Talk? And give us a show best bet.
Okay, my brother. So big day for me on Tuesday. I have 2 client bets in the NBA, in college basketball, and 2 client bets in the NHL. But put all of that aside. Today, me and all of your listeners and mine on WTT are going to break my sales record. True story. We're already getting close. I have a 5% college football total up for Saturday. It's only $5. Guys, this is my first college football 5% total of the entire season. I am 69% in college football totals this year. Yes, 69% in college football totals this year. I am on a 7-3, 10-4, and 19-9 college football run. I won my 5% last week. I won my 5% the week before. I won my 5% the week before that. This is a really strong play, and we are all going to work together. You're going to call your mom, even your kid. So long as your kid is over the age of 8, I'm okay with them betting my play. So let's get over to WagerTalk today and get my 5% college football total. If your kid is 7, that's bad parenting. Just saying that as a parent of 2. But let's break records. As for my show best bet, it is the Winnipeg Jets in regulation. And lastly, I want to say that the 2 of you guys are doing such a bang-up job. This show is getting better and better every time I come on it. I hit the like button. 66 other people hit the like button. But about 150 people didn't. So if you guys don't mind, please do so. Carmine and Andrew put in so much work to make this show great. And it really is great. Congratulations to both of you guys. I will not be back next Tuesday. I will be in Whistler. But I will see you guys 2 weeks from now. Lots of love. Thanks for having me.
Best of luck, Prez, to you. Andrew, before I throw it to you, tomorrow is Andrew, Don Buster, and Andy Lang. I have got the day off. I've got a doctor's appointment. So I've left you guys with ABBA tomorrow. ABA. I could have added Brian and made it a true ABBA, but that would have been like a Mamma Mia moment. Andrew, give us a free play winner and close us out.
Carm, I just wanted to reiterate again that today it's not a NHL $5 play for me. It's a $5 NFL play. 8-1 run with NFL totals. Those have been my strongest plays over the last couple of years in the NFL. So you guys can get my favorite NFL play of the week, favorite total for just $5 on an 8-1 run after the over cashed in the Broncos and Browns game yesterday. Let's go to another first period system play here. This team is off a shutout, and they're going to come out flying. The Carolina Hurricanes lost not once, but twice to the Florida Panthers over the weekend. They were shut out and dominated in their last game. They're going to get it going and have a huge first period. But Seattle, they've been pretty good starters as well. So we're going to take over 1.5 in the first period. Seattle and the Carolina Hurricanes. And taking a look at the Seattle team, their best periods as of late have been the first periods. They've just been collapsing late in games. So look for goals early and often. -125 over 1.5 first period. Carolina and Seattle. Great show today. All kinds of free picks. And hopefully you guys tune in to Wager Talk today as well, coming up at 12 o'clock Eastern time. Do not miss Carmine's 5% play, guys. Just $5. And my top NFL total, just $5 over at Wager Talk. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like button on the way out. We'll see you tomorrow right here on PuckTime.